Hello, this is a video for Year 1, Autumn Term 1. How should we care for the earth? Why does it matter? On Making Sense of Belief, it says there that their children should give a clear, simple account of what Genesis 1 tells Christians and Jews about the natural world. Genesis is obviously the first book of the Bible, and Genesis 1 and 2 together tell the account of creation. There's some key concepts, key ideas to grasp there. It starts very famously, obviously, with in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Christians and Jews both believe that God is the creator of creation. That means that God is completely separate from, distinct from creation. There's God, and then there's everything else in creation, everything else within time and space. And Genesis chapters 1 and 2 teach that God is the creator of all of that. Whether it's the things that we see, plants, flowers, animals, rivers, stars, planets, or the things that we don't see, spiritual beings such as angels. Christians believe that God is the creator of all these things. The creation account in Genesis chapter 1 is ordered according to 7 days, the 7 days of creation. It's worth noting that there's a pattern that goes on here. In days 1, 2 and 3, God creates spaces. He creates light and dark, he creates land and sea, he creates the sky and the earth. And in days 4, 5 and 6, those respective places are filled. So light and dark is created in day 1, and then in day 4, day 1 space is filled with the stars and the moon and the sun. Day 2 creates the space of water and the air, and that is filled in day 5 with the fish and the birds. In day 3, the land, the space of the land is created, and then in day 6 that is filled with the animals. So there's this understanding of creation of spaces and then filling of those spaces. There's a nice pattern there, and it culminates obviously in day 7 with God resting. It's worth noting that in every stage in creation, God makes a declaration at the end of all of the days. There's a pattern that's followed, and he always declares that it is good. So that's the end of each day is with it is good. The only difference from that is the change in day 6, when he creates humanity, and he declares that to be very good. And so there's a sense in Christian understanding that creation is good. It's a good gift of God. As I already said at the beginning, it's not God himself. God is not part of creation. He's separate from creation, but it is a good gift of God. And humanity within that creation is, in a sense, very good. And in that passage as well, it talks about man and woman being made in God's image. Again, there's this sense in which humanity has a special place within creation, bearing the image of God. With regards to caring and tending for creation, the passage tells us that God gives a command to Adam and Eve. He commands them to tend the garden, to care for the garden, to oversee creation. So there's a command. One of the very first commands that God gives is to take care of the creation which God himself has made. It's worth noting that that is just the very beginning of the story of Genesis. As soon as we get to Genesis chapter 3, just the next chapter after the creation accounts in 1 and 2, we have what's called the fall. That's where humanity turns against God, turns away from God, rebels against God. And with that, we see that creation in some sense becomes marred. And so what we experience now in creation, though still a good creation, is in some sense fallen and marred. That's why Christians would believe that we all experience great beauty and joy and goodness in creation, but we also experience suffering and loneliness and despair within creation as well. So why should Christians take care of creation? Why should they value it? Primarily because it's not ours. It is a gift of God, it's a creation of God, and we're merely stewards of it. So a steward is someone that doesn't own something but takes care of it on behalf of someone else. That's kind of what it means for us to be made in the image of God. We're to act as his image bearers in the world, taking care of his creation on his behalf. So taking care of creation, caring for the earth matters because it's not ours, it's God. It matters because creation is a good gift of God and it's right to take care of it. And it matters as well, coming out of Genesis 1 to other passages, because the two greatest commands God gives us are to love the Lord our God with all our heart, body, soul, mind and strength, and to love our neighbour as ourselves. That's what Jesus said. And one of the best ways, well, maybe not one of the best ways, but a very important way in which we can love our neighbours is to take care of the environment in which they live. So if we want to care for the poor and the needy, then we'll want to take care of the environment in which they live. That's why, for example, issues such as global warming and climate change, which affect migration in the poorest countries, it's very important that we consider these things as Christians, because we want to care for our neighbours and we want to love them. One final reason that we should take care of creation, I think, is that God has declared it good. It has fallen in Genesis 3, but the big storyline of the Bible is that one day God will restore creation. That's the promise of that Jesus brings. Jesus comes to restore not only individuals, humans, but he comes to restore the whole of creation. Often it's thought of that Christians believe that kind of when we die, we go to heaven up in the clouds or something like that. That's not what the Bible actually teaches. The Bible teaches that at the end of time, Jesus will return and he will recreate the earth. The earth will be restored as it should be in the beginning. It will be restored to a good, a wonderful place again. That is heaven, as it were. Heaven and earth is recreated. And so because that's our future, because that's what Christians expect in the future, that's our hope, it's important to take care of the earth now, knowing that Jesus will come and he will restore it. That's probably all I want to share at the moment on that topic, but do be in contact if you'd like to ask any questions about that topic.